519 new Terra years before the Great War, Queen Deorith sat in the royal garden under 3 crescent moons on a warm summer evening taking her tea. The second of 2 suns had just dropped below the western mountain line, and the sky dimmed to hues of pink and dark blues. Her chair was turned to face east, as she preferred, so to keep the asteroid belt ringing her world in view. She enjoyed watching the blue, green, and red lightning flashes that danced around the stones in the darkening night sky. Something is wrong, she thought, as there was something different in the pattern of the dancing lights. With a hand that shook slightly with advancing age, she took a firm hold of a small, fist-sized white crystal. The world around her changed as the seer's stone gave her a vision of the future. The Queen's eyes clouded over as she witnessed images from a future so far distant that they fractured into disconnected and conflicting events. She breathed in deeply in a practiced manner. She slowed her heart, and in turn, her mind, allowing the images to flow into separate paths and more evident stories. Her visions often appeared like places reaching from diverging paths through a dark forest. Every fork in the road represented an individual's choice. The outcome that would result from the choices made were difficult to determine. Tempered wisdom was required to see the future that each chosen path would bring. The path before her fractured into 3. The first one opened to a world devoid of life. It was cold, and there was nothing more than death. She need not see any more. The second was a blur, images out of focus, but screams of panic and cries of children in pain could be heard in the distance. Her heart physically hurt to witness such agony, but she continued on to the path. Sorrow filled her as she came to understand what she was seeing. She turned back and returned to the point at which the path had fractured, and then ventured down the third path. Her legs became heavy, and the path too dark to see. In the distance there was a very faint light. She tried to walk further, but somehow she could not. There was no way to tell what kind of future the third path led to, or whose choice would bring it into being. She stopped and closed her eyes. There was an aroma in the air like none she had ever smelled before, yet she knew it well. It was not of her world, but that which her ancestors and distant descendants would know. "Miracagale," she whispered to herself as she identified the flower from which the honey-sweet scent originated. It did not tell her anything about the third path other than some life would have a chance. The path faded away, and her real world came back into view, the night sky alive with pinlights from the heavens and the 3 crescent moons rising in the air. The small round stone table where she took her evening tea in the garden had a stack of parchment paper, an ink bottle, and a quill on the right side next to her stone. She never knew when the inspiration to use the prophet's stone would come, so she had a set of writing instruments kept in each room in the castle and brought to her whenever she was outside. Taking the quill, she opened the ink and dipped the feather into the black liquid. Her hand waited for her mind to decide how to instruct the future. After a moment, she released the quill and let it remain in the ink, as she was not ready to write quite yet. There needed to be a message, but she was not certain of what or to whom it should be addressed. Replaying the images in her mind, the Queen looked for something to help her guide her words, but there was nothing. On the table, the prophet's stone started to glow with a very faint light, something it never did without her touch. Reaching out to it, she took it into the palm of her hand. "Your Majesty," a woman's voice came from next to her. She looked over at the image of the woman she knew very well. They conversed for less than a minute, and then the woman faded away. Queen Deorith knew what she was to say to the future, and to whom she should write the warning. "My dear Commander."
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.